Miss Aurora Harris. Let's give her a nice round of applause as we receive one of Detroit's own.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me here. I'm with the Broadside Press, and before I start a poem, I always like to read a poem by somebody else. And this is from the Black Poets, Dudley Randall Buck. And it's a short poem by Langston Hughes, Words Like Freedom. There are words like freedom, sweet and wonderful to say. On my heartstrings, freedom sings all day, every day. There are words like liberty that almost make me cry. If you had known what I know, you would know why. Hey, this piece has a repeating line in it from the poet Kara Petse goes at sea lane, and the line is the desperate die expensively today. Feel this breath. As we creatively recreate our reality in existence, the desperate die expensively today. So feel this breath, the breath of a 49-year-old woman, poet, educator, unemployed, caretaker with a master's degree, standing in a sea of the casualties of greed, who can barely afford the A to the Z. Feel this breath, spitting over 40 years of racism, sexism, and alienation, unemployment and destruction. In 48202, there's an infant mortality eruption. Feel the breath of this city towards glass towers falling, the breath of the sleepless and suffering calling, people buried under bills, the evicted and homeless, people crushed in the collapse of class by corruption. Yes, the desperate die expensively today. By being switchblade strangled by a gas pump's hose, by being forced to pay high prices shoved down our throats, while granny next door can't pay for water, while dad across the street can't pay for heat, while students are screaming schools are dead because they traded education for tests, tests, tests. Can you feel this breath breathing down your necks? The breath of elders who eat cat food because it's cheaper than buying a can of soup, while urban gardens are feeding ourselves, when we refuse to buy food from gas station shelves. Yes, the desperate die expensively today. So feel this breath, the fumes of the forgotten. People turned into numbers and another statistic. People turned into dollars for wars and ballistics. Yes, the desperate die expensively today. After working our bodies into crippled bones, to be forced to live in high-tax zones, while many took billions in buyouts and shares. Isn't it a human rights violation if our cupboards are bare? When the quality of life expands for the rich, while they try to pimp slap workers like a 2-cent bitch, and then turn around and scream when artists want their pay for royalties that are owed from the past to today. While copyrights are stolen as the name of new blues, all artists should get what is due. Yes, the desperate die expensively today, as we creatively recreate our reality and existence. Thank you. This one is a piece that I wrote for my sisters who have worked in oppressive conditions and who suffer from various health problems and things, and they thought they were doing the right thing by being good women and doing whatever it was they were doing. They ended up sick. And this is based on 5 women that are set up like they're in a gallery on exhibition. So this is called Gallery Exhibition 5. 1. And how has she articulated her existence? Let me count the ways. Who and what constructed her reality? Let me count the ways. And for whose zone of comfort, system of oppression, myth of pervasive reason does she exist? Let me count the ways. How has she deconstructed her thoughts, her mind, her will, her actions, her education, her work, her speech, her writing, her body, emotion, souls? Let me count the ways. 2. See, In this room, she sits behind closed door, escaping from the cacophony of layered realities. She escapes from the prison of language, structures, beliefs, dictating the rhythm of her existence. See, in this room, she sits behind closed door, being everywhere and nowhere, not being, but being the force of herself, driving herself through quicksand, that day, that job, that week, that pain, that month, that year, that pill, that abuse, that job, that pill. Quicksand sucking energy through clogging veins. She says an IV tube is typewriter ribbon. See, across from her in that room, she sits behind closed door, hard as dried seashells, a fossil unearthed, devoid of emotion. She is emptied beyond zero with lava stone breasts, pitted, atrophied, decaying, mind recalling why uncried tears turned into tumors on a $50,000 treadmill of corporate stuff. See, next to it, there, in that room, she sits behind closed door, declaring anarchy from her navel, with a tongue a pillar of darkness, nothing fresh, beautiful, sexy. See, the silt of herself settling in that cradle, her womb turned dying riverbed, caught between fracturing hip bones she will polish later. See, down there in that room, she sits behind closed door on the shore of herself, tight as stocking toe seams with rubber pushing blood up. She writes she is existing as knotted tree branch, tapping ink onto space, 150 words a minute, 46 pages later, she is word symbol sign. She is closed, do not enter. She no longer needs permission to exist. Thank you.